Gundam.tk presents Silhouette Gundam. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert, 1D4, 2Rs, 2Bs, Gundam Reviews.net, and today I couldn't be happier to add another lead to my collection from a manga this time. It's 1/100th, it's the Gundam RXF-91, usually known as the Silhouette Gundam. This kit first came out in 1992, and it still sells for the same price, 1,400 yen. Here is the name bar and the very long mouthful of a name for the manga, and you can see here in the 1/100th non-grade line that it's number 2, which is also visible over here in yellow. The early 1990s were a very busy time in terms of 1/100th Gundam kits, which we haven't seen that kind of era in a long time. Kicking things off in 1990 was the manga F90, before we had the movie F91, which was supposed to be an anime. There's the Burgagiros there representing that, before we had that long name there. Mobile Suit Gundam Silhouette Formula 91 in UC0123, and that's the one we're going to be focusing on the lead for today, the Silhouette Gundam. And it's always great to turn to the Bible here. You can see that in October of 1990, the Gundam F90 Type 80S, and you can check out that review on gundam.tk. There were 3 more kits to come out, all variations of the F90. Before you have, in March of 1991, you're going to have the Gundam F91. There were good guys and bad guys, allies coming out before that. But then, following things up, you had the Hardy Gun come out in April of 1992. Before you actually got the Silhouette Gundam coming out in May of 92. That's going to be followed up by the RXF-91 Kai. And then the Neo Gundam, which I'll talk about in a moment. And one of the hardest to find mangas in all time if you're looking for manga leads, the F93Y Cluster Gundam. Now, the manga Silhouette Formula 91 is only a single book, and it's 8 or 10 chapters. It's been a couple years since I've read it. And basically, it's the old story, where SNRI was developing the F91, which is the small, light kind of mobile suit that we've all gotten used to late in Universal Century, and Anaheim Electronics, which had been an absolute dominant market force before that in Universe, was playing catch-up, and the way they caught up is by stealing the plans and making their own RXF-91, which is going to serve as the first lead of the manga, before in the end the pilot and protagonist, Tokyo Randall, which is a great name for any Gundam pilot, is going to end up stealing the Neo Gundam and facing off with another Neo Gundam, so I'm just going to call these the first and second lead of the whole series. But back to the model itself, you can see that it's got very distinctive cover packaging there, and it's including the height there. You can see that the height of the RXF-91 is going to be about 15.5 meters there. You're going to have a picture of it painted up like a pro, and it's actually looking pretty fantastic with that clear pink beam shield. And down there you're going to have a whole bunch of English, including the head, 15.4 meters, to go along with a list of all the weapons. For the box tour, you can see that it's all painted up here, and it's looking pretty colorful with stickers all over the place and a whole bunch of ink. Again, that pink part is going to look fantastic for the beam shield. Down here you're going to have some more history about Sanari and how they were making their own F91 before Anaheim had to play catch up. The rear shot here, you can see the Vespas on the back, along with the beam sabers in the backpack, and down at the bottom you're going to have what I wish they included all the time, an unpainted one, especially when you're going back to 1992 to build your old kits. If you expect it to match up to a non-grade or a master grade of today, you're going to be sadly mistaken, but this guy's actually looking surprisingly colorful, which is thanks in no small part to the plates, but also the millions of stickers that you get to add on to this guy. To the other side of this vertical facing box, and you can see on the backpack that it's going to have the famous weapon from the F91, also borrowed by Anaheim here, and that's in the form of the Vespas, which can pull forward underneath the arms there, which are always going to look great, and they're really fun to play in the game G Generations. When you move down here, you're going to see that the big shield and the camera eye are actually made out of clear parts, which was a big deal back in 1992. You'll see though that with the eyes that you're going to need some work to really bring them out, and look how many details and words are written all over that guy's chest. When you move down here, you can see that the arms are going to be fairly movable flaps, the odd thruster down there, and again some more information about the kit and its whole development in this F91 universe. Now sadly I didn't film a proper unbox of this kit, so let me just show you the leftover plates. You're going to have this part down here for the clear pink, 2 parts there for the top and bottom. The D plate is going to be gray, which is sort of looking gunmetal-y. You can see a C plate for the white and for the B plate. And then on the A plate, this is going to be the interesting one, because if you've ever built an old school one, and I'm talking like the old 1/100th Victory Gundams and things like that, you're actually going to have multiple colors running into the same part. So you're going to have blue and red running into the chest here. you're going to have yellow and blue and white and red, which means that you're going to have a whole bunch of color actually inside individual parts, which is a really pleasant surprise for a kit this age. The E1 plate is going to come with the custom eye part. This was a big deal back in the day to have clear green eyes, but sadly it's going to be just green, which means you're either going to have to put some black ink around that or to make this really look right, or you're just going to have a set green mono eye kind of thing in the middle, and you're also going to be getting some old school polycaps. You're also going to be getting a whole bunch of stickers to go along with this, and you can see that I've applied almost all of them. I just put on a little bit of marking, which you'll see on the parts, and skipped out on most of these, but I decided to go the full color route and see what a lazy modeler like myself could get out of the box back in 1992. You're going to have this kind as well. These ones are silver on the back if you actually peel them down, whereas these ones are going to be clear all around. I used the majority of them, haven't figured out where these goes. And you've got these, the very famous F91 is going to be replaced with just a 91 and an RXF on the right shoulder to join it, but this is actually in the plastic, so you don't need to use these seals. If you want to see a proper unbox of an old school 1992 kit, don't forget to check out my review of the 1/100th Neo Gundam, the successor to the Silhouette Gundam, where you can see the A-plate in all of its multicolored glory along with all those seals that you're going to have to put on these old school kits to try to make them look decent. It's a very interesting shape to the manual here. It's going to be 4 pages, but on the cover it's actually going to be the horizontal landscape instead of standing up and down. But that kit, again, when you put on some proper lining, is actually looking pretty cool. When you flip it over to the back, you're going to have a color list here, and it's going to talk about body color 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then it's going to show you what applies there. So body color 1 is going to be your front armor, shoulder armor, head armors, etc. And you're also going to have all of these little letters around here to show you both what the parts are. You can see 7 are the ankle joints, the manipulators. You don't think that you need to go into that much detail. But it's going to be very useful because it's done in color and it'll identify where you can put on some of the seals. Although again, you're going to have to go through the manual pretty carefully to not miss any of the multitude that they include. When you go to the inside of this, you're also going to have some more information about the RXF-91 Silhouette Gundam, some specs for it here, which were written in English on the front, and the old story that's taking place in 0122, which is strange because the anime is 0123. But anyway, it's taking place in November. But as you move on, you can see some very cool and old-looking, old-school line art there. Very familiar for any Gundam fan to see that kind of thing. You've got the beam saber there, the head section looking alright, the Vespas on the back. You can see the joints that are going to deploy there to go along with the standard beam rifle. And again, one of the main reasons I wanted to buy this kit is just because it's got one of the more unique shields in all of Gundam, and it's certainly pleasing to the eye, I think. To the inside, where you're going to see all the plates here with all the parts actually inside that, you're going to have this very small one there to go along with the eyes and some polycaps. You're going to get the clear seals and the seals added in. When you're putting it together, you can just see how simple it is. Yes, the thighs are 2 parts, the lower parts are a 3 or 4. You put those together and then you put on a million seals and voila, you've got it all finished. Building up the arms, again, just 4 parts there. The shoulders are actually made out of 4 parts, which is a pleasant surprise. You can see the RXF-91 included in there. An overall white, very white body. It's not always the best manual. You're going to have to follow this thing pretty carefully and actually use your head because there's a few things that are not counterintuitive in the manual. Doesn't make it as clear as it could be, which is something to be expected with old school stuff. And there's some other surprises too, like when you've got this clear part for the eyes, it's just going to be green, but you take a seal and you actually take the silver part, which is the adhesive, and you stick it on the inside, which is going to make the eyes slightly sparkle from the inside. You'll have seals here for the V-fin, which you'll get a closer look at in the parts. And then you basically put the shield together, put the beam sabers in, and then you're ready to go to war with this white, pretty poor looking silhouette. So that's going to wrap up my intro to this Silhouette Gundam, and I've got to say that it was interesting to take this thing out of the box and just see how old school some of it is with the choices that are in the manuals, and just with the plates in general. It's great to see those multicolored plates when you're putting it all together. And anyway, stay tuned for the next part where you can see all the parts and details and see how that old technology translates into the plastic before seeing it all put together to add another manga lead to my shelf, which I'm pretty excited about, especially with the Neo Gundam to follow. Anyway, everybody, Robert184, gundam.tk, why don't you let me know, has anybody read the manga here? And what do you think of Tokyo Randall? Played it in G Generations? Anyway, I'd love to hear from you with a comment down below. Thanks for watching. See you next part for the parts.